Greetings nerdy list aficionados and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. Today we're going to be updating you on one of the most popular villainesses out there, Poison Ivy. There are casting rumors floating around at the time of this recording, so why not take a look at I was waiting for an alliteration to come to me but they were all super awkward, so let's just tackle some facts, try and fill you up with some knowledge you may not have heard before. I'm Sasha and these are the top 10 shocking Poison Ivy facts you won't believe. Number 10. She's modeled off of Betty Page. Poison Ivy was always intended to be a bombshell. It was built into her character, a femme fatale type, and her model was the fetish pinup model Betty Page, which was also meant to add a layer of taboo to the proceedings. For those who don't know, Betty Page was not just an ordinary pinup, though she did do that too. She was also into BDSM stuff, and that's still a taboo now, so imagine back in the day, people's heads exploding. So initially Ivy had the same haircut and proportions. Her hair would change and she has gotten taller. Poison Ivy first appeared in Batman number 181 and would go on to become a staple of Batman's rogues gallery, even if her message and function would change, from eco-terrorist to love interest. Well, she started off as a bit of a love interest for Batman, so in a way we've come full circle, only with Harley. Number 9. A Rose by any other name. She wasn't always called Pamela Isley. Her first name was Dr. Lillian Rose. This was pre-Crisis, that being Crisis on Infinite Earths, which occurred in 1985. We've talked about it many times on this channel at this point. That was the event when DC first folded its multiverse in on itself. This was to try and clear up confusion. Before Crisis, she's largely the same, only she was involved in an Egyptian-themed crime orchestrated by Marc Legrand. There were herbs in the artifact he was stealing, but still reaching. She survives his betrayal and murder attempt, but develops immunity to poisons. So it's pretty similar to post-Crisis, but we would revamp it and flesh her out. Give her more character, an evil professor who she had seduced, make her powers even more plant-based and nuanced. Ivy's powers actually have quite the interesting history, which we will touch on very shortly. Number 8. Can sense plants. Poison Ivy loves plants. She likes them more than people, with only a couple of rare exceptions. And part of the reason for that is that she's actually linked to them. She can feel their pain. In some canons, she can communicate with them, like actually talk to them, which is part of how they do her bidding. So she can make them attack for her, and frequently refers to them as her babies. This connection to plants is part of what caused her disconnect from humanity. She was reborn as a plant goddess, so to speak. That's supposed to be part of what's going on with the scantily clad thing too. It's like, ooh, she's Eve in the garden, so free. But it often comes across like, you know what I love? Cheesecake. Let's go get some. Number 7. Connection to the green. Speaking of her plant connection, over time that has become linked to the green. The green is an elemental force in the DC universe, most frequently associated with Swamp Thing, the green inhabited by the Parliament of Trees. This realm has been accessed by scant few on Earth, who end up being used or influenced as agents. It is a connection to the green that drove the Floronic Man insane, and Ivy's connection is a more recent development. Swamp Thing claims that the green is trying to influence her towards good, but that it is a slow-going process. Her connection to the green seems to be why her abilities can be seen to be increasing, as well as her increasingly plant-like appearance, and her penchant towards being resurrected. It's an interesting angle and one that opens up a lot of narrative possibilities if it's more explored. Number 6. Saved Orphans. Now Ivy does actually have a softer side, and it has manifested a few times. One such incident was during the No Man's Land now iconic story arc, wherein a giant earthquake devastates Gotham, and the area ends up finding itself divided into factions, areas controlled by different villains. Ivy sets herself up in Gotham City Central Park and ends up making her space a haven for orphans. It was a nice change from the general misanthropy of her character. She hates everybody, all the people. This concept has been played with since, the idea that Ivy would like children but not necessarily the other people or any institutions, etc. that tend to come with such an arrangement. Which brings us to number 5. Number 5. She has 3 children. So Poison Ivy hasn't had many miniseries. There are some characters you can spin off and guarantee sales, and others you cannot. Ivy's minis are always interesting, let's go with interesting, including The Cycle of Life and Death, which was released in 2016. So in this, Ivy ends up creating 3 plant-human hybrids, Rose, Hazel, and Thorn, because there's never a reason to go off-brand if you can avoid it. This story wasn't too well received, and is still in the minds of some fans why did we do this again? It is revealed that the children will have very short lifespans, so they ended up going off and living their lives and were promptly forgotten by most people. Number 4, donated her hush money, and hush money has 2 meanings, so that's kind of funny to me. Puns. Continuing on the nice things that Ivy has done, the money that she got from Hush she donated to charity. Comic book Hush, so not the Riddler. That was a thing, wasn't it? Yeah, here's Thomas Elliot. He just died. Yep, what a character. So in the comics, she got $30 million and donated it to a restoration fund. This was revealed in Gotham City Sirens. This is because with Ivy, first and foremost, it's plants. That's her core trait. It's not sitting at home watching TV longing for a normal life. It's making humanity pay for what they've done to her babies. We all need to pay, and she's gonna make us. Also with pheromones, because why not? Number 3, conversion to hero. New 52 and also DC Superhero Girls. So speaking of Ivy's villain status, many stories have been transitioning her into the role of an anti-hero, but not how you may think. Some of you may be thinking, oh, because the writers agree with her environmentalist message, so they're presenting her in a more sympathetic light. No, at least not most times. It's mostly been, she's secretly been a nice person the whole time. She was just really hurt, so she lashed out at the world. This has allowed her to team up with heroes and even be part of teams, even in little girls' animated shows like DC Superhero Girls. Because conflict? What's that? No child has ever experienced that. Yes, I'm a bitter Betty. Ivy was just really sad. That's why she murdered all those people. Have you ever been sad and tried to wipe out a species? Totes justified. Man, am I right? There's a way to write this, it's just not always done very well. Number 2, loving Batman. If you look up Ivy, you're bound to find tons of pictures of her macking on various individuals, but one of the first, in fact the first, was Batman. In Ivy's first ever appearance, she was drawn to Batman, but that element, well, it didn't last. Instead, Ivy would develop a disdain for men, well, people in general, but men in particular, being especially disdainful towards how easy it was to manipulate them because of her appearance, and well, the hormones and the pheromones, can't forget those. Ivy has had a few romances, but few have stood the test of time, except for our number 1. Number 1, married to Harley. In the Injustice verse, whenever I add that, people are like, why are you trying to devalue their love? And I'm like, I'm not. It's an alternate universe. Some people ignore that because, well, they want to. But there are different universes. Like, I could be like, Batman is Terry McGinnis. And yeah, he is in that universe. We live in a society. Okay, so Harley is the person Ivy seems to like the most. She loves Harley, has a huge soft spot for her, but it has at this point in some stories overridden all her other character traits. But some people don't mind at all, while others live in fear of saying they miss old Ivy, lest people read their statements and, you know, try and destroy their lives. Harley and Ivy have a fascinating relationship that can be depicted many ways, and some have never yet been attempted. What's your favorite depiction of them? Let me know which it is and why down below. Thanks so much for watching Top 10 Nerd. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more nerdy lists, and hit the bell notification so that you never miss a vid. I'm Sash, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.